Well, after the few weeks delay, it is now time for Week 8 of the 2021 DCFL season, as we are now officially halfway through the season. So when we last left off in the current the stands in the Eastern Conference, the Indianapolis Rabid Stallions lead by 2 games over the Jacksonville Scouts, and the New York Gangsters as the 3rd seed despite the losing record, as they have the tiebreaker over Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Boston. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, the Oakland Pillagers now lead the conference with Chicago right behind, and then the Tacoma Slashers 3rd place, followed by Seattle, Kansas City, and San Diego. Alright, so it's now time for the Week 8 games. As we see, as it starts off with San Diego at Baltimore, followed by Indianapolis at Seattle, then a big one as Jacksonville visits Tacoma. Then after that, it's Oakland at New York, a big one, Boston hosting Chicago, and finally Kansas City at Philadelphia. So let's take a look at the Week 8 results. So here is the Week 8 results as we start off with the San Diego Mean Green Machines upsetting my Baltimore Charms 17-14 as their defense shut down my normally really strong offense, unfortunately. Good job for them as they're now 2-6 as my Charm fall to 3-5. Meanwhile, Indianapolis throttled Seattle to win at 48-33, although their team has a little bit suspects to it. Their defense allowing 21 unanswered points, yes, in garbage time, but still, as they continue to dominate as Seattle falls to 3-5 as Indianapolis still stays undefeated. Meanwhile, there's so much for the awesome matchup as Jacksonville led 28-0 at one point, and they just kept getting throttled as they crushed Tacoma 45-24 as they've now lost 2 in a row, as Jacksonville easily is 6-2 and has the second best record in the league despite not leading the division. Meanwhile, the other games, Oakland at New York. New York held on to win it in a defensive struggle 20-10 as they're both now 4-4. Then Chicago, after being down 13-0 to Boston at halftime, they stormed back to take the lead and win it 21-20 as they now won 5 in a row. They now lead the division as Boston falls to 3-5. And then finally, Philadelphia hosting Kansas City. It was a close game until the 4th quarter when Philadelphia ran away with it, and they won it 22-13 as they are now 4-4. And Kansas City, after starting off the year 2-1, has now lost 5 in a row to fall to 2-6. So now here is the updated conference stands. So far as you see in the Eastern Conference, Indianapolis still leads at 8-0 with Jacksonville right behind at 6-2. And the New York Gangsters have the tiebreaker over the Philadelphia Sonics as they lead at 4-4, followed by Philadelphia. And then my Charm, our 5th seed, right ahead of Boston based upon tiebreaker. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, look at that. After starting off 0-3, Chicago now leads the Western Conference at 5-3 with Oakland right behind the 2nd seed and the Tacoma Slashers 3rd place with 4-4 in the playoff mix. Seattle's right behind at 3-5, and Kansas City afterwards, as they have the tiebreaker over San Diego. Halfway through the season, the best offense in the league still belongs to Indianapolis, with Jacksonville have the number 2 offense. Meanwhile, defensively, it's Chicago with the number 1 defense in the league, followed by Jacksonville. Jacksonville look like a really strong, solid team right now, number 2 offense and defense. Meanwhile, San Diego has the worst offense in the league, and surprisingly, the Seattle Tenyo, usually a very strong defense, having the worst defense right now. They're mostly offense right now, mimicking how the Seahawks have been from elite defense to elite offense. So then we take a look at the schedule for Week 9, as they'll start off with the Baltimore Charm at the New York Gangsters, which my Charm need to win if we're going to have any shot still remaining in the playoffs, because we're really running out of time. Followed by Boston at Indianapolis. Then a possible big one as Jacksonville visits Philadelphia. And then a big one for last place in the league as Kansas City visits San Diego. And then a big one in the Western Conference as Tacoma visits Oakland. And we finally wrap up with another possible big matchup as Chicago visits Seattle. Well, now halfway through the year. I did these games a few weeks ago, and I made the slides a week ago, but I've mostly been busy because of making the 2022 MTWS season tracks. But now that I'm almost done with them, hopefully I can get back to DCFL and get it done sooner. Alright, so hopefully next time, guys, Week 9 will be around the corner. So see you guys then.